My name is Gerald Chambers. I'm a marriage and family therapist. And tonight I want to talk about a myth in domestic violence education. Battering is never caused by drugs and alcohol. Studies have shown that alcohol use is one of the strongest indicators of whether or not men will be physically aggressive during the first year of marriage. Although the research on drug abuse has been less extensive, batterers are a great deal more likely to be substance abusers than men who do not batter. None of the research proves that alcohol causes battering or drug abuse causes battering. It simply suggests that batterers tend to have drug problems. Battered women who haven't given up hope often feel like, if I could just get him into treatment, if I could just get him to stop using, everything would be better. For some batterers, getting clean will lead to an end of the battering. The relationship between substance abuse and battering is very complicated. A substantial portion of batterers are not substance abusers. And a woman may be just as likely to be beaten by a man who's under the influence as she is to be beaten by a man who's not under the influence. Most men with drug and alcohol problems don't batter their wives or their partners. Being high may lower your inhibitions, but it's also a good rationalization. Some men get high to justify the battering that they made a decision about prior to getting high. Some men attribute the battering to drug and alcohol use to minimize the significance of the battering. Too much focus on drugs can lead away from the main thing, and that is the battering behavior is effective because it injures, intimidates, controls, and subjugates the victim. The types of men who abuse their partners are also the types of men that have drug problems. Alcohol and drug use is part of the lifestyle of many batterers. But it would be a mistake to say that drug and alcohol use causes the battering. I've considered it a contributing factor. The drug and alcohol lifestyle for many batterers creates unmanageability, chaos and confusion in their lives and in their relationships that they deal with violence, conflicts, that sort of thing. They interact with their partners in a violent way because of the conflicts that are created from their substance use. They may be arguing with their partners over money. They may be taking her money. They may be squandering money that creates all kinds of conflicts in the relationship, and they end up escalating to violence. Some batterers do only get violent under the influence because it transforms them. But in treatment, those men shouldn't be allowed to use that as an excuse. Like Dan White killed Moscone over in the city and said that Twinkies made him do it. You can't make that excuse. When we separate substance abuse from domestic violence, we lose an opportunity to work on both of those issues and learn more about how to help people with those problems. Now traditionally the two have been separated, substance abuse and domestic violence. We usually didn't treat the two together. I like to because I look at substance abuse as a type of relationship, and many of the men that have substance abuse problems have turned to substances because they didn't have adequate relationships growing up, or they're suffering from trauma from previous relationships, or they're medicating what's going on in the current relationship. So it's all a part of it for me. And, when we work on substance abuse and domestic violence together, we have a better chance of coming up with better interventions to help men that have both problems. And only got one shot. A guy may come in for DV with a substance abuse problem, and it's through that DV that I get a shot to help him work on the other problem, the substance abuse problem. Some men can't be successfully treated for substance abuse and the battering behavior goes away. Like I tell my guys in treatment, I don't really focus so much on the drugs. I focus on why are you in pain? And if we can eliminate that pain, if we can reduce that pain, a lot of times the battering behavior will go away and the substance abuse behavior will go away. And these guys get into extensive stories about abuse, neglect, trauma, that sort of thing that has happened to them in the past. And when they can lay that burden down, a lot of times they see ways to take on new information and make changes in their lives. And many of the men that I work with, they don't want to be batters. They're not really criminal types. Every now and then I'll get a criminal type that doesn't really care. But for the most part, I get guys in the treatment that are not fighting both inside and outside the relationship, that may have a substance abuse problem, that of course they're pre-contemplative about the effects of their behavior and their substance use on their lives. They haven't really thought about that or made that connection. But given an opportunity, men do quite well in treatment at understanding and making changes. And many men, given the opportunity to do that, seize it and change. If you like this video, leave me a comment, or hit the like button. Thank you for listening.